The Joe Hippensteel Method.
You talked about the root cause of all pain and injuries. I guess what you're saying is it's muscle lock, it's lack of flexibility to have that, full range of motion that you need to have to a standard, as you say. How has knowing this helped you in your current business and your life in general?
Yeah, for me, I have a chapter in my book that says, if I didn't know what I know, I couldn't do what I do. I couldn't be athletic anymore. I heard everywhere from training. And the same with the SEALs, the same with pro athletes. 70% of all pro athletes retire because of injury. We're able to literally get them back in the game sometimes after a year or two of not being able to be rehabbed. They're done, they're retired, they're in their 30s, which is considered old. We can get them right back in the game within a couple of months by opening up all the kinks that they had, like you referred to, what I call muscle lock. When a muscle goes beyond tight, Jack, it locks up. And the common denominator of all that is just tension that has been built up from repetition, from sports over and over. And we have a chart that we use, a concept that shows what we call the X age. So it may be for someone when they're young, if they're a pitcher for 10 years, and by the time they're 16, their shoulders and arms are so tight that doctors think it's a ligament tear or a muscle tear, a rotator cuff. And a lot of times, if we just loosen up that muscle lock in that area, it frees them up and they can move on with their career. It may be someone who, when they're turning 40, their knee starts to hurt, and then their shoulder starts to hurt, and everything starts to hurt. And the doctors just tell them they're aging. And we say, no, get rid of the tension. Do these ranges of motion, and you'll get to a point where it's 20 minutes a day, maintenance for the rest of your life. So tension is the enemy. People don't understand flexibility to a standard, not just stretching in general, 5 minutes here. Yoga class is great if you have natural flexibility. If you don't, you have to be really careful, because a lot of the style that they do in yoga is more is better. And you've got to know your limitations. You've got to take it step by step in order, the way that we teach it. And it's a progression to a standard.
So valuable. I wish I'd known this sooner. I actually ruptured a disc in a yoga class, believe it or not.
Okay.
I'm sure you can believe it, because I was stretching way too far for what I was able to do at the time. Anyway, I love what you're doing. I'm grateful that you're doing it. I'm going to definitely do some work with you. If people want to learn more about where they can find you, work with you, or one of the people you've trained, find out more about your book, where do they go, Joe?
They can go to my website, which is ultimatehumanperformance.com. And we have videos available there. We have coaches that have been trained. If you go to the coaches section, we do one-on-one sessions with people, and we have seminars. They can find out all the information they need. And interestingly, Jack, your publishing partner, Steve, we talked just a little while ago before I came on, and I'm doing a one-on-one session with him tomorrow and with his wife, because he said that if he had known about this, he'd be playing tennis 3 hours a day for the rest of his life. And so we're going to try and get him back on the tennis court, hopefully after his one-on-one session. And he bought the video package, so he's raring to go.
That's great. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Well, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it, Joe. This was fabulous.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it. And great work you're doing with all of your successes in your books and your seminars. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. And thanks all of you for tuning in. I would say the message for today is suffering is optional. Pain is optional. There are solutions. And Joe's one of the people that knows seemingly more about it than anybody. And I really encourage you to find out more. At the very least, go to his website, check out his videos, get a copy of the book. And if you're really so called, to work with him or one of his coaches. And thanks for tuning in, and tune in again next week. I'm going to have another person on who can help you live a happier, healthier, freer, more peaceful, more relaxing, more impactful, more meaningful and fulfilling life. So until next week, take good care of yourself, and begin to do some conscious stretching, and but do it under the advice of someone like Joe. All right, take care, everybody.